Well, I mean, it's something we're trying to figure out. It seemed like, like the sequence to Moreland, he threw him a good slider, and then he threw him one that just kind of spun. He threw a split to Hanley that didn't do a whole lot, and the home run to Benintendi was a cutter that kind of almost backed up. So, again, it's the same issues. Nothing's really changed. It's the inconsistency in the pitches that are really hurting him.
Joe, what alarms you the most when you look at his work as a whole this season?
Well, just how inconsistent his pitches have been. And the home runs are a result of that. Some people might think it's the home runs, but it's the result of not having consistent pitches and making mistakes.
He's been more inconsistent than he's been consistent this
Correct.
season. What do you do with him moving forward?
You continue to work. I mean, that's what we have to do. I mean, it's our job to try to figure it out and get him back on track and get him back to where he was.
Andrew, Dave.
When you look at your options in terms of what you can do with him, is it just throw him out there next, 5 days, or are there other things you think should be on the board when you look at things with
Well, we haven't had a chance to discuss anything, but I mean, this guy's been the ace of our staff the last 3 years, and I don't think you just forget how to pitch. But for him, like I said, it's been inconsistent stuff that's really killed him, and we got to find a way to get him back on track.
Dave, to your left, Joe.
Joe, he's always been a pretty confident guy, and he's had the success to back it up. Do you see in him losing a little bit of that? I mean, if you look at him on the mound, at least from what we can see on the outside,
Right.
it does look like he seems some doubt has crept in. I don't know if that kind of can affect his pitches and the way he delivers.
Yeah, some people might call it doubt. Some people might call it frustration. I see a lot of frustration in him. Him trying to figure out why his stuff is inconsistent, trying to figure out why he's not pitching well. Usually with success comes confidence, and lack of success, you start to doubt. And that's just human nature. But it's not like he's making excuses, that he's not taking the ball every fifth day. So, to me, he's trying to figure it out.
Who else? Brian and Joel.
Joe, when you get an outing like you did from Chad Green, are you tempted to find a start for him?
Chad's not really built up. I took him out tonight because, we started to worry because I think he's thrown 44 pitches one time with us maybe. His last outing, he kind of went 30, and he had a long lay. The thing is, he's not really that built up anymore because he's been here. Again, he threw the ball well. He's doing his job and doing his role. We just got to get Tanaka to do his.
Joe.
Joe, you've mentioned a lot after bad Tanaka starts, looking for solutions. You have a lot of people and a lot of resources. The fact that you haven't found solutions yet, what does that say?
Well, it just, you could say, okay, he had the great start against Oakland. We found the solution. And then it went back. He knows what he needs to do. I don't think you just forget how to throw a pitch, but for whatever reason, it's been inconsistent. He throws a good one, he throws a bad one. He throws a good one, he throws a bad one. So it's in there. We keep trying to change routine a little bit here, maybe a little bit more of this and less of that, just to find the consistency. So, Joel, we'll continue to look. They look at, let me tell you, they look at everything. They look at the height of his arm, they look at extension, they look at this and that, and there's nothing that's really alarming. That would lead you to think, okay, this is it. This is exactly the reason. It's not.
But does that make it alarming that it's been this long and you can't pinpoint something?
It makes it more difficult, for us, because we see flashes of what we've seen. So to me, it's just finding a way to hit for him to become consistent, and we'll continue to work at it. Larry will continue to work at it tirelessly as long as our front office will, and we'll try to figure it out.
Brendan.
Speaking in general, if a hitter's having a rough stretch, you give him a day or two. Can something like that help a pitcher too, a starting pitcher, like maybe a skip start?
You could try that. It's probably most difficult to do with a starting pitcher because what do? You don't necessarily have someone built up that could fill the role. If it was early in April, there were some guys that were built up a lot more, and maybe you could have tried that. But, I mean, it's something we can talk about. You know, you can talk about having a bullpen day, but then you fry your whole bullpen. So it's kind of difficult. It's a little bit more difficult than a position player.
Who else? Andrew?
We've asked you a number of times if he's hurt, and you've said he's not. But have you guys have you done anything where he's been looked at even further in terms of any kind of, looking at, where you looked at stuff?
I know I've been asked this a lot. If you're walking down the street and you're walking fine and you're not limping, is someone going to say, are you hurt? There's no lack of velocity. His velocity is consistent. We've seen really good sliders. We've seen really good splits. There's nothing that tells us that he's hurt. He's not coming into the training room for extra treatment. So, I really believe that you could take 12 New York Yankee pitchers and you could take 12 Boston Red Sox pitchers, and if you MRI'd all of them, you could probably find a little something. And you say, well, that's it. But that's not, you can't do that. Everyone has little issues that they deal with. So there's nothing that leads us to believe that he's hurt. There's no signs.
Yeah, right here in the middle.
Masahiro only pitched 62. He could have probably went a little bit further, but the third home run kind of made you decide, or inconsistency kind of made you decide not to go further?
Yeah, and, I felt we had a chance to come back. Pomeranz's pitch count was really high. So, and we ended up 1 run short. We had some opportunities. We came up a little bit short, but I just felt that making the switch gave us the best chance to stay in the game.
Anyone else? Dan?
I know Headley had the late walk there, but he had a couple opportunities, as did others, to kind of come up with a big hit. Did you see anything from him that you didn't like, or is it more of the same from him?
He put on some tough at bats. Was there anything? No, not necessarily. He worked the count on Pomeranz. He probably saw 8 or 9 pitches before he grounded it into the double play. So it wasn't. No.